She said, "I only see my ex every weekend. It's just a habit." Then added, "If you're jealous, you don't deserve me." I replied, "Then he deserves you more." I accepted a job overseas. What I sent her after that left her completely speechless. I, 32M, work in high-stakes logistics for a massive global shipping firm. My entire career is built on the ability to anticipate disasters before they happen. If a port in Hamburg is about to strike, I'm already rerouting cargo through Rotterdam 3 days in advance. If a hurricane is forming in the Atlantic, I've already moved the fleet. I am paid a ridiculous amount of money to see red flags and act on them decisively. You would think, logically, that this skill set would translate to my personal life. You would think I'd be able to spot a bad investment or a sinking ship when it's sleeping in my bed. But I didn't. For 2 years, I missed every single warning sign, blinded by that specific, humiliating kind of stupidity that only love can manufacture. I've been with my girlfriend, 27F, let's call her GF, for 2 years. We met at a gallery opening where she was working as a art consultant. I later learned this title was mostly decorative. She worked maybe 10 hours a week and spent the rest of the time curating her lifestyle on social media, trying to look like a woman of leisure. I was the stability she needed. I was the guy with the quarter office, the lease on the high-rise downtown apartment, and the platinum card. She was the excitement I thought I lacked. She was vibrant, chaotic in a way that felt like fun at first, and incredibly affectionate when she wanted something. We moved in together about 8 months into the relationship. I covered the rent, the utilities, the groceries, and her consulting expenses. She covered the aesthetics. The friction started about 6 months ago, centered entirely around her ex-boyfriend. She didn't just stay friends with him, she was his emotional life raft. That was the narrative, anyway. Every Friday, like clockwork, she would get a text or a call, and suddenly she had to disappear to check on him. The story she spun was tragic. He was going through a severe depressive episode after losing his job. He was suicidal. He had nobody else. I tried to be the understanding, modern, secure partner. I didn't want to be the controlling guy who forbids friendships or tells his partner who she can't see. I swallowed my discomfort and told myself I was being a good guy. But the checks got longer. Friday nights turned into Saturday mornings. Then slowly they turned into whole weekends. She would leave Friday afternoon with an overnight bag and not come back until Sunday evening, looking exhausted but somehow refreshed. The incident that finally broke my blindness happened on a Tuesday. I had come home early from a business trip to surprise her. I walked in the front door, luggage in hand, expecting a warm welcome. Instead, I found her on the couch, FaceTime open on her iPad, a glass of my expensive wine in her hand. She wasn't counseling a depressed man, she was laughing, she was glowing. I stood in the hallway, unseen, listening for a moment. I can't wait for the cabin. He's going to be so annoyed if I leave early, but who cares? He's such a bore lately. I felt the cold seep into my bones. He was me. I stepped into the living room. She looked up, saw me, and her eyes went wide. She didn't hang up immediately. She whispered a frantic, "Gotta go," and tapped the screen black. "You're back early," she said, her voice tight. She didn't move to hug me. "We need to talk about him," I said, dropping my bag on the floor. The thud echoed in the silent apartment. "This isn't support anymore, GF. You're living a double life on the weekends. You're planning trips, calling me a bore?" She sighed, rolling her eyes like I was a nagging parent asking her to clean her room. She stood up, smoothing her dress, and went on the offensive. This was her go-to move, attack the accuser. "I told you he's fragile right now," she said, pouring more wine. "I only see my ex every weekend. It's just a habit. It keeps him stable. He needs familiar faces." "It's disrespectful," I said, my voice rising. "I'm paying for everything here. I'm building a life with you. I am funding your lifestyle, and you are giving all your emotional energy and apparently your weekends to him. I'm done with it. You need to choose." She turned to me, crossed her arms, and delivered the line that would essentially destroy our relationship and seal her fate. "If you're jealous, you don't deserve me."
The audacity of it stunned me. She was flipping the script, making my reasonable boundary into a character flaw. She was banking on my fear of losing her. She thought I was weak. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized I was looking at a stranger, a parasite. "Then he deserves you more," I said quietly. I walked into the bedroom, closed the door, and locked it. I didn't scream, I didn't throw things. In logistics, if you panic, you lose the cargo. You have to be cold, calculated, and precise. I sat down at my desk and opened my laptop. 2 days prior, my company had formally offered me a transfer to the Singapore branch. It was a senior director role, a massive pay bump, a luxury housing allowance, tax benefits, the works. I had hesitated because I didn't want to uproot her. I didn't want to ask her to leave her career and her friends. I opened the offer letter. I clicked accept. I didn't break up with her that night. I didn't sleep on the couch. I slept in the bed next to her, staring at the ceiling, formulating the plan. The next morning, I initiated the strategy. I spent the next 3 days acting like I had capitulated. I apologized for being insecure. I bought her flowers. I told her I was just stressed from work and that I trusted her completely. I watched her ego inflate. She thought she had won. She thought she had me on a leash. But she wasn't done. On Thursday, the entitlement escalated to a level I didn't think was possible. I came home to find her sitting at the kitchen table with a stack of papers and a pen. She looked serious, almost businesslike. "You see, I've been thinking," she said, gesturing for me to sit. "If we're going to make this work, I need security. You scared me the other night. I need to know you're committed." She slid a document toward me. It was titled Cohabitation Agreement. "My friend, who is a paralegal, drafted this for me," she said. "It basically says since I've been contributing to the household by managing the domestic side, making it a home, I'm entitled to compensation if we split. And it puts me on the lease officially. It also grants me a monthly stipend for my personal maintenance." I read it. It was insane. It demanded a $50,000 exit payment if I broke up with her for any reason other than infidelity, on her part, which she would obviously deny. It claimed she owned 50% of the furniture and electronics I had bought before I even met her. It was a shakedown. "And if I don't sign?" I asked, keeping my face neutral, masking the rage boiling in my gut. Her demeanor changed instantly. The sweet, loving girlfriend mask slipped off, revealing something predatory underneath. "Then things get messy," she said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I know you use your company laptop for personal trades sometimes. I know you forwarded that sensitive client file to your personal email last week to work on it over the weekend. Technically, that's a breach."
Breach of your compliance protocols, isn't it? Insider data handling? I froze. She was right. I had sent a file to myself to work on a presentation. It wasn't illegal, but it was a violation of strict company policy. If reported, I would face an internal investigation. It would freeze my transfer. It could get me fired. "You'd report me?" I asked. "I'd hate to," she smiled, a cold, empty smile. "But if I don't have security, I might get anxious. And when I get anxious, I talk." She was blackmailing me. She was threatening my career to lock me into a financial trap. "I need time to read this," I said. "It's a lot of legal jargon." "You have until Monday," she replied, tapping the paper. "I'm going to the ex's place this weekend. He's having a crisis. His grandmother's sick or something. When I get back on Sunday night, we sign, or I make a phone call." "Okay," I said. "Go, take care of him." She left Friday afternoon, smug and confident. She kissed me on the cheek, grabbed her bag, and walked out the door. She thought she had me cornered. She thought I was the weak link in her chain. The moment her Uber pulled away from the curb, I mobilized. I had roughly 48 hours to erase my existence. Step 1, the lease. I wasn't the owner of the apartment. I was the leaseholder. My lease was a corporate package that included a diplomatic clause. This allows for immediate lease termination in the event of an international work transfer, usually with a penalty fee.
I called the landlord's management office immediately. I emailed them my transfer papers. I agreed to pay the 1-month penalty fee instantly via wire transfer. They were thrilled to get the unit back because the market rent had gone up 20% since I signed. The lease was terminated effective that Sunday. Step 2. The intel. While I was playing nice earlier in the week, I had hired a private investigator, not to prove cheating, I knew that in my gut, but to find out who this guy actually was and what leverage I had. The report had come back on Wednesday, but I had sat on it. It was a gold mine. The ex wasn't depressed, he wasn't unemployed, he was a wealthy real estate developer. But the kicker? He was married, and his wife was 6 months pregnant. My girlfriend wasn't his support system, she was his weekend mistress. The cabin they went to, it belonged to his wife's family. The PI provided photos of them at a winery, holding hands, kissing. He also provided a log of Venmo transactions, where the ex was sending her money for Uber and dinner with heart emojis. Step 3. The assets. I hired a moving company that specializes in emergency relocations. Basically, they come in fast, pack everything, and get out. They showed up at 6 a.m. Saturday. We packed everything. My expensive leather sofa, the 75-inch TV, the sound system, the KitchenAid mixer she loved, the Nespresso machine, my clothes, my books. I was ruthless. If I bought it, it went in the truck. I left nothing but her clothes, her boxes of art supplies, and her cheap bedside lamp. By Saturday afternoon, the apartment was an echo chamber. It was completely bare. I stood in the middle of the living room looking at the indentations in the carpet where my life used to be. I felt lighter than I had in years. Step 4. The financial option. I went to the bank. I removed her as an authorized user on my credit cards. I transferred my entire savings to a new account at a different bank, just in case she tried to claim some common law access. Unlikely, but I take no risks. I put a freeze on my credit. Step 5. The twist. I sat down on the floor with my laptop, using my phone's hotspot because I had already canceled the internet. I composed an email. I attached the PI's photos of girlfriend and the ex at the winery. I attached the Venmo logs. I attached a screenshot of a text message where girlfriend told me she was helping him through a panic attack at the exact time the photos showed them toasting with champagne. I didn't send it to her. I found the email address for the ex's wife. It wasn't hard. She was a realtor and her contact info was public. I drafted a message. I think we are both being played. This is what your husband does on his mental health weekends. My girlfriend is with him right now at your family cabin. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this. I scheduled the email to send on Sunday at 12 p.m. local time. That would be right in the middle of their cozy brunch. I left her key on the kitchen counter. I took an Uber to the airport. My flight to Singapore was at 1 a.m. Sunday. I landed in Singapore 14 hours later. It was Sunday evening local time, Sunday morning back home. The humidity hit me the moment I stepped out of Changi Airport, but it felt like freedom. I checked into my corporate hotel, a sleek place overlooking Marina Bay. I showered, ordered room service, and poured myself a double whiskey. Then I turned my primary phone back on. It practically vibrated off the table. 58 missed calls from girlfriend, 15 missed calls from the ex. I guess she gave him my number. A barrage of text messages that told a story in 3 acts. Act 1, confusion, Sunday, 2 p.m. Girlfriend, where are you? I'm at the apartment. Why is my key not working? I had to get the concierge to let me up. Girlfriend, where's the furniture? OP, is this a joke? Where's the TV? Girlfriend, my credit card just got declined at the grocery store. I'm trying to buy food. Fix it. Girlfriend, the landlord just came by. He says I have to vacate. He says the lease is terminated. Tell him to stop. This is illegal. Act 2, the explosion, Sunday, 4 p.m. Girlfriend, what did you do? Girlfriend, his wife just called him. She's screaming. She has photos. How did you get photos?
Girlfriend, he's kicking me out. He says his wife is threatening to freeze his assets if he doesn't come home right now. You ruined everything. Girlfriend, I have nowhere to go. The apartment is gone. You can't do this to me. Act 3. The Threats. Sunday, 6 p.m. Girlfriend, I'm calling your boss. I'm telling them about the file transfer. You're dead. You hear me? I'm going to ruin you. Girlfriend, pick up the phone. I need money for a hotel. I sat there, reading the messages, feeling nothing but satisfied. The cohabitation agreement threat was toothless now, but her threat to call my boss was still a loose end. I needed to tie it off. I opened the chat. I typed slowly, enjoying every keystroke. Me. I wasn't jealous. I was just busy packing. You said seeing him was a habit, and I figured you needed more time to focus on that habit without me in the way. So I removed myself from the equation. The apartment is gone, lease terminated per the relocation clause. The cards are canceled. The furniture is in storage. I paused, then added the kill shot regarding her blackmail. Me. Regarding your threat to call my company, I already disclosed the file transfer to my compliance officer Friday as a self-reported potential error. I got a verbal warning and it's closed. However, I forwarded your cohabitation agreement and your text threats to my personal lawyer. He has already drafted a police report for extortion and blackmail. If you contact me, my employer, or anyone I know ever again, that report gets filed and you will be arrested. Extortion is a felony. Try me. I hit send. Then I typed one last thing. Me. I hear the ex is single now, or about to be divorced, so he definitely deserves you more. Good luck with the mental health checks. I blocked her. I blocked the ex. I blocked her friends who started blowing up my phone. I blocked them too.
My phone calling me a monster. I kept the PI's number, though. That guy was worth every penny. The aftermath. I've been in Singapore for 6 months now. The work is intense, the food is incredible, and the peace of mind is something I can't put a price tag on. I heard through a mutual friend who is decidedly on my side what happened in the wreckage I left behind. The ex's wife was ruthless. She didn't just kick him out, she scorched the earth. She had a prenup, and because of the infidelity clause, which the PI's photos proved, the ex got hammered in the initial separation. He tried to move in with my girlfriend, but remember, she had no apartment, no income, and I had cut the credit cards. They ended up in a cheap motel for a few weeks. The romance of the forbidden weekend affair evaporates pretty quickly when you're living in a Motel 6 and eating vending machine food because the guy's assets are frozen. They turned on each other. The entitlement that bound them together tore them apart when the money ran dry. He blamed her for the email. She blamed him for not leaving his wife sooner. She tried to find a lawyer to sue me for the palimony she thought she was owed. She actually found someone to send a demand letter for intentional infliction of emotional distress. My lawyer responded with the draft police report regarding her extortion attempt and the evidence of her credit card fraud. She had used my card to book the cabin that final weekend, which I hadn't authorized. The lawsuit vanished overnight. Last I heard, she had to move back in with her parents in the suburbs. She's working as a receptionist somewhere and posting vague, sad quotes on Instagram about narcissists, healing, and how money can't buy class. The irony is, she was right about one thing. Money can't buy class, but it can buy a really good private investigator and a one-way ticket to a new life. The moral of the story? When someone looks you in the eye and says, "If you're jealous, you don't deserve me," believe them. They aren't asking for trust, they are demanding submission. They are telling you that their need for external validation outweighs your need for respect. And never, ever underestimate a logistics manager with a relocation clause in his lease. If you like stories where the trash takes itself out with a little expedited shipping from yours truly, hit that subscribe button. It's cheaper than a cohabitation agreement and comes with zero blackmail.